Hello, everybody. My name is Cycling is My Whole Life, and cycling is my whole life. Thankfully, I'm feeling better today. I went for my 2 mile walk a little bit ago. USMES has already started. I'm a little late because I had some work stuff that I had to do, but no worries. We're here now. We're going to join them and then get dropped immediately because that's probably what's going to happen. So, we're going to get started in three, two, one. So ultimately, we're still going to go for our 10 miles. That's always going to be the goal, at least for now. At least that's our base. So usually in these USMES rides, they're group rides. We just join the group and then hope for the best. Looks like I joined them right at the bottom of a climb, which means I'm probably going to get dropped here. Awesome. But that's okay. We're not here to win any races. We're not here to um, like 100% stay up with the group. We're here to get some miles in. So today is March 19th, 2024. We have done 180 miles so far, and just continuing on our journey. Today I had broccoli, cucumbers, some barbecue chips, not that many, maybe like 10 total, and I guess you could call it a grilled cheese sandwich, but the bread was like the flat bread and it was wheat. Then I had 2 hard cooked eggs. I looked over because I have 2 more that I was going to eat before this ride, but then I got caught up with some work stuff, so unfortunately those are gonna have to wait. I'm not sure if I said hard boiled or hard cooked, but I call them hard cooked eggs. I'm that kind of person. Don't call them Kleenex, I call them facial tissues. Don't call it a dumpster, call it a mobile trash bin. It's not Velcro, it's hook and loop. So, eggs are cooked in boiling water. It cooks them until they're hard. They're hard cooked. I think maybe a hard boiled egg would have to be cracked out of its shell and then boiled. I'm not sure how that works, but in the past, looking into it, hard cooked eggs is the correct method, or the correct name for calling these kind of eggs that you put into boiling water. I don't know if that's 100%, but that's kind of the majority vote, and that's what I go with. Either that or what's most correct, at least by those who know. If I'm wrong, I'm okay with accepting that I'm wrong, and I'm willing to change it, because I changed from saying hard boiled to hard cooked. I think one of the things of growing up, especially because I'll be turning 40 soon, is that it is better to be wrong and change your ways in order to be right than to think you're right, never acknowledge that you're wrong, and continue believing that you're always right. And there's no growth if that's the option that you choose. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué? Okay, mi bautismo. Yeah? Nope. So my, I'll explain to you what just happened. So my driver's license was going to expire, and one of the things that they ask for is a birth certificate, depending on what kind of driver's license you have. And I'd called my parents to ask them if they knew where my birth certificate was. Not because I don't know where it is specifically. I know that it's in my house, but I don't know the exact location. And since I didn't realize that my driver's license was expiring so soon, I decided to go to check all the files. I couldn't find it. I called the Department of Motor Vehicles, and they said that the birth certificate wasn't required. So my dad came over and asked me if that was my birth certificate he was showing me, and I said that was my certificate of baptism. Alexa, tornado on. Alexa, tornado on. Feels good. So anyway, Alexa, shut up. So anyway, I didn't need the birth certificate, so I got my new driver's license. So we're all good. The attendant at the DMV was like, "Are you sure you don't want to come back?" And I was like, "No, I got work. I have to work late tomorrow. I work late on Thursday, and I don't want to risk what might happen on Friday and delay the possibility of my driver's license being expired." So poor planning prevents poor performance, and that was poor planning on my part. But the only advantage of getting the driver's license that I was needing my birth certificate for was for a was so I wouldn't need a passport to travel. And if I have a passport, I can travel with only carrying my driver's license. So it doesn't really make a difference. I can just get a passport and I'll be fine. Actually, I have a passport, so it doesn't even matter. I don't know how long they're good for, but my last passport I got somewhere around 2016, so I should be plenty fine. If not, we'll just go through the proper channels, man. It's not that big of a deal. No need to make a molehill out of a mountain. Ooh, I like this climb. This is one of my favorite climbs. When I was trying to get the Tron bike, I would do this climb over and over. So I would get down here, and then I would flip a U-turn right here, and then I would climb up again until I was down on the other side, and then do another U-turn. But I broke my right ankle at that time, and so that eliminated the possibility of that happening within that time frame. No big deal. We will get the Tron bike eventually. Technically, it's not a Tron bike, it's the A1 Zwift bike, but everybody calls it the Tron bike. I'm just saying Tron bike for all of you who don't know about the A1 bike. I think it's A1. Allow me to verify. Oh, excuse me, the Concept Z1, aka also known as the Tron bike. not A1Z1. And also for all of you who don't know how to say the plural of octopus, it's octopede. Are the other ways of saying it acceptable? Yes, they are acceptable in the English language. Would they be correct? Not based on the root word, which is Greek. And in Greek, you end with "ed" at the end for a plural, making the correct word octopede. But that doesn't make a difference now, because we can just say, "That's lit, fam," and that would be proper English. I remember when I was a kid, I used to complain about people saying "ain't," and they said, "Ain't is a word, it's in the dictionary." Being in the dictionary does not make it proper English. It's still English, but you know, whatever, man. I've died on too many molehills. And if my one viewer that watches me on the somewhat regular is listening, you know what I'm talking about, bruh. Why am I this way? It's interesting to me. I think, like they say, the double-edged sword, you know? People like you for the same reason as other people dislike you. And I tend to be very much like myself, which makes some people really like me because I'm very much like myself. And that makes other people dislike me because I'm very much like myself. And I think maturity is accepting that fact and being okay with it. I'm not saying I wouldn't change to be more likable by other people. I do that all the time. It's within my nature to be a people pleaser. But also too, I realize that life is too short to sit around and annoy people just so that they can be what I'm meaning to say is, life is too short to be so prideful that you just annoy people just so you can feel correct in your own ways or in your own beliefs. I'm not doing that. I don't intentionally mean to annoy people, but if I do, it's kind of part of who I am, and some people find it charming that I am the way that I am, and if they like me and I like them, it's good enough for me. Can't please everybody. I think one of the greatest pieces of advice that I heard somebody tell me was, if it is impossible for you to like everyone, it is impossible for everyone to like you. And for me, I'm very much okay with that. It's just part of life. You can't be tall and short at the same time. You can't have long hair and short hair at the same time. You can't be strong and weak at the same time. You can't be fit and unfit at the same time. Everything has its price. You may ask yourself, why would anybody want to be unfit? I don't think it's that anybody wants to be unfit. It's that the people who are unfit choose to live a lifestyle which requires less work, and that makes them unfit as a reaction to their actions. And if that's the choice that they want to make and they're happy with that, hey, that's on them. Not everybody wants to bicycle 10 miles every day. I do. And I live my life happier when I do my miles every day. And some people live happier not doing that. Now, that could be at the cost of their health, but they're happy and comfortable with that decision. They could do other things to exercise, not just biking, but I'm using biking as an example because that's what I'm doing at the moment. The takeaway would be that some people just choose to live a different lifestyle because it's more comfortable for them. I'm more comfortable cycling 10 miles, and I'm less comfortable running 10. Some people run 10 and they are more healthy than I am. So you could say that because I choose not to run 10, I'm living a more comfortable life. And that would be a true statement, I believe. I've run 10 miles in my life plenty of times. Actually, last year I ran my first half marathon, and I was very happy about that. And I'd run many 10 milers before, and I thought that maybe a half marathon wouldn't be that much different for the added 3.1 miles. But believe me, it is very much different running 10 miles to running 13 miles. Definitely not as different as running 1 to 2 or 2 to 5 or 5 to 6, but it is definitely harder to run 10 miles and then add 3 more when you're only used to running 10 miles as your max. And I was in really good shape at that time. I believe I was around 215 and about 20 or less % body fat. And yeah, I was still very difficult. I would say that the last 2 miles were definitely a bigger hurdle than the first 11. It was like when I was at 11 miles, I saw that I had 2 miles left, and I thought to myself, this is cake. But it was not cake. It was literally the opposite of cake. I ended up feeling more fatigued by the time that I got to my 12th mile from my 11th mile. And then from my 12th to my 13th was just something different. And the thing is, after running 12 miles, actually 12.4 miles, I had to run the rest of the way home because I started my half marathon from my house, ran down to a park, ran another 10 miles or 11 miles down there, and then I had to do the last 0.6 of a mile home, and that was just brutal. That was the most difficult part. Once I got home, I was in another world. Thankfully, one of my friends who is a runner, came to visit me to celebrate, and it was also on my birthday, so that was almost a year ago. And he brought me a shoebox that his wife had made for me, and we sat and talked and celebrated my birthday. That was a very nice experience. I get to sit out in the sun. That was great. Definitely very enjoyable. It was interesting. I was running 5K every single day up to that point, and then after that half marathon I completely stopped running until I broke my ankle, and then I completely stopped running. A couple years ago, when I was doing Twitch exclusive videos, I had started by doing I think it was 30 miles every day on the bike. So it was 15 miles for an hour, and then either I would do another 15 miles on that the next hour, or I would come back and do another 15 miles. So by this point in the year, if I was still cycling, it was, let's see here, 60, 80 days. So I had about 240 miles. Wait, is that right? No, that's not right. It would have been 30 miles times 80 days. 2 zeros, 24 plus 2 zeros, 2,400 miles. Yeah. And then I hit a huge slowdown. Went down to 15 miles per day. Ended up finishing my cycle across the country thing that I was doing in like 6-7 months. And then I started up another one. Calculated my days so I could do another one by the end of the year. That didn't end up happening either. So, just goes to show how much your body can take, your mind can take, and the influences in your life, how they affect you. So, having those big efforts sometimes is easy and sometimes it's not, even if you're used to it. I remember one of the biggest rides that I did one summer was Seattle to Portland, which is back-to-back centuries or 200 miles all in one day. I opted for the back-to-back centuries. I'm not fast enough for doing 200 miles in one day. Even if I averaged 15 miles per hour, that would have been very tiring. And I had never done anything of that amount. The most I'd ever done prior to that point was like 110 miles. So I was not ready for that. To be honest with you, I was not ready for the 200 miles, 100 back-to-back either. And I did not do a very good job of taking care of my diet, and I didn't plan very well right before that. And so that was very, very difficult. Then I ended up not cycling after that until the next century later that year, where I did a ride called Bridges to Breakers, which is in Portland, Oregon. And that's 100 miles of cycling with a vertical mile of climbing. And besides, that was probably the most physically taxing thing I've ever done in my life. Even the 15-mile road march that I did in the Army was nothing compared to this. I was having muscle cramps and muscle spasms in every part of my body. My back, my abdomen, my biceps, my triceps, my lats, everything was having cramps and spasms. Just because, one, I was out of practice, and two, I decided to sprint the first 20 miles because I didn't want to get left behind on the group. But I had been so out of shape because I'd stopped cycling since July, and I believe that ride was somewhere in September or October, and it was just downpouring, so like it was cold, so I was cramping. Ooh, that's a bear up on that rock right above my head. At least I believe that's a bear. You gonna stand up? Oh, that's two bears. Cool. Anyway, it's anyway, not anyways, by the way. Yeah, some things are tough, man. Some things are tough to come back from. I'm glad I didn't just do it and give up, though. And I'm glad I didn't give up on the way up there. At the 80-mile mark, I was ready to give up for sure. Three miles to go. There's a lot of climbing in this route, whatever you prefer. I'm not particular on that one. Because if bout is B-O-U-T, and route ends with an E. Shouldn't it be root? It's just like GIF and GIF. It's pronounced GIF for graphic interface. GIF, like giraffe, not giraffe. Sorry. I guess bringing up the fact that I can be obnoxious sometimes made me want to be a little obnoxious this time around. How do you pronounce it? Leave it in the comments below. I could be one of those YouTubers. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Remember that we're nearing the end of our 10 miles. So if you need another video to watch, head over to my videos or my playlists and just queue up another one of those videos. We can hang out a little bit longer if you want. Who knows what nonsense I was saying during that time? Could be anything. Sky's the limit. You have to excuse me for my sniffling. I'm still a little under the weather. Still doing better than yesterday, but the sniffles are usually the first symptom I get and the last symptom that leaves. Sneezing has been rough. I've been usually if I sneeze, I sneeze one time per day. If I sneeze, and in the last 2 days, I probably sneezed at least a total of about 40 times. Oh, there it is. There's our buddy. Sasquatch. Oh, it's a pretend one. I don't call him Sasquatch, I call him Bigfoot. I'm not sure that there's a difference. There might be. It's just the Pacific Northwest tends to refer to Bigfoot as Bigfoot, not Sasquatch. I have a picture of Sasquatch. I think like the Sasquatch to me is like the one with the white fur versus brown. To me, brown is Bigfoot, white fur is Sasquatch. Yeti, the abdominal snowman. Mile and a half to go. Oh, are we descending this whole way? I'll accept that. Sasquatch sprint. Doing great, Sean. Thank you. Hands are getting a little tingly. Oh my God. Sorry about that. Just got some news. I will be finishing this mile and then quickly leaving. I have something that I have to go check up on. I will give you guys the details maybe in the next video, depending on what the details are. Things of life, man. Half a mile to go, friends. All right, friends. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you very much. Sorry to have to end this way, but such is life. We will be back tomorrow with more cycling. Hopefully. Be good to